Well, hi. What would you do if you had a big scooter workshop, lots of free time because it's the off-season, lots of spare parts and lots of broken scooters that you could take parts off of or build something special out of? Well, if you want to see what we did, then continue watching this video. So Xiaomi, they make a lot of fairly boring and simple scooters. So we thought that we'd make something a bit more special, just free our minds completely of the concept of what a Xiaomi scooter is and build something well, really special. A Xiaomi scooter with two-wheel drive and about 3000 watts of power. So where do we start with this? We have two donors here, and this motor from here needs to go here. I think we should just take this apart and see how the thing is attached. I mean, I know how it's attached. I'm slightly worried that this motor might be too narrow to attach here in the back. So if you ever need to take off a motor from a Xiaomi, you need to first remove these stickers here, because they cover the bolts that hold on these plastic pieces that cover the motor's bolts. Yeah, this fork is definitely way wider than this. So we might have to do some sort of an inventive technique to install this motor in the rear. So we need to take off the bottom cover to get the motors disconnected from the controller. So to take the motor, we need to disconnect the motor from the controllers first, and the connections are going to probably be underneath here. Wow, this thing is very Chinese. This doesn't look at all like a Xiaomi from the inside. Okay, this is not actually a real Xiaomi, this is some sort of a Chinese copy. It's got also a way smaller battery than the normal Xiaomi. Anyway, the motor is disconnected now, so I wonder if we can just pull it out from here. Okay, that was easy. And to remove the front wheel, that's basically the same thing as the rear. Just need to remove these plastic covers, and the motor attachments are below. It's really annoying actually that this isn't a real Xiaomi, because I really want to take the rear mudguard off of this to make this, because this is really broken. It's really broken. But this one has 4 screws and this one has 3, so I don't think I can attach it there. This will hopefully be the motor we'll be using in the rear of that scooter. Let's see how well it fits. Okay. I'm just gonna remove the brake caliper real quick, but it looks like it's going to be a bit of a challenge to attach this motor because the fork is a bit too wide in the rear. Let's see. I mean, how janky do we want to make this? Because I could fairly easily attach it with like...
Not janky.
Not janky.
Not janky.
Okay.
Factory.
Factory.
Factory quality.
OEM look.
OEM.
Okay. Okay, you see we will need to attach nuts on the end of here, and it's exactly the same width as this. So how do we do it? I wonder if we could just squeeze it in a bit. Oh yeah, we could probably. So the holes here are a bit tiny for this axle here. So we're gonna make them bigger. Maybe we'll be able to just put the motor in between here and just squeeze them together and have nuts on the end, and it will work. So if it doesn't work, we'll just use an angle grinder and we'll cut from the back here and have like 2 slots like it's in the front. But I'll try and drill the holes first. That worked almost too well. Let's try and do a test fit. So we couldn't get the motor wire through one of the holes because it's so tight. I'm gonna have to cut this a bit. that's hot. Okay. Why is it only bending on one side? I mean, it's on here. It's not very straight and it's not very good, but it's on here. So we're gonna need to have these on there to attach the motor to the frame with like an arm, because the motor's gonna have so much torque that otherwise it would just twist itself out of the aluminum. Another slight worry with this scooter is going to be that because this doesn't have a brake disc attachment, this motor, we're only gonna have electronic brakes. And it's probably going to be fine, but you know, this thing is gonna be quite fast, so whoa. So it might be a bit worrisome. So it turns out it's actually surprisingly easy to add a motor to the rear of a Xiaomi. So it's like, it's attached, and even, look, even these covers fit. But the next step, I guess, will be connecting a controller to these motors. I think we're already there. So I'm attaching a new controller to the motors just to test them. So this is a controller from a Dual from Victor actually. It's 2 times 60 volts and 30 amps. So this would be about 3.6 kilowatts. So it's a slight upgrade from the original 350 watts that the Xiaomi had. So we're currently also using the Dualtron i3 display, which basically works with all Dualtron's controllers. Just to test it. We'll see later, maybe we can hide the display somewhere in there to keep the Xiaomi looking like it's just a Xiaomi, to keep the sort of sleeper aesthetic. So this is not gonna be the battery that's gonna be inside here, but just to test it out, it works. Okay. Right. We should be able to turn it on now. Okay. Why is the other one not working? I think I need to... There you go. It's spinning the wrong way, but that should be fairly easy to fix. So look at it. It works. I mean, wow, that was really easy. How long did it take us? Like, I don't have my phone with me, but it's like an hour and you can easily have yourself a working Xiaomi which has 2 motors. But yeah, we just need to make a battery and find a way to put the electronics inside the scooter, not on it, but yeah, we'll be able to drive it. So obviously the motors are not designed to be like, I don't know, 1.8 kilowatts per motor, so they'll probably take it well. I mean, they will work if we ride it in short bursts. If we would go and ride it at peak power for like an hour, or I don't know, an hour is actually a really long time, for like 10 minutes, then they would probably burn out. But particularly this one, that's not the original one, because these wires are really thin. Like you can see the difference in the thickness of them. The Xiaomi ones are actually a bit thicker, so this motor will probably hold out better than the rear one. Well, right now I don't know if the wheel diameters are set up correctly, but right now it will do 60. So current max speed is 48. Do we want to go faster? I think we could go faster if we used like the controllers from the Dualtron Thunder. So yeah, we can go faster. Progress update. So now the motors are on and they work, which is good. So now we need to figure out how the controllers fit inside here and wire up everything so that the motors are connected to the controllers and have a display up here and some sort of probably a button for the brakes. Maybe I can use this lever, but since we're not gonna have the caliper, we're gonna have electronic brakes anyway, so maybe that doesn't make much sense. I'm also wondering if I can still use this weird fake Xiaomi rear fender, because this current one is only held in by 1 screw, so I could at least have this by 2. Because at 60 kilometers an hour, this is gonna be a bit of a thing. So what I'm doing now is I really want to make it look like a Xiaomi, so I don't really want to have a separate display here. So I thought that maybe it's possible to take the PCB out of this display here and just place it in here and connect this up to work so that it would, well, the sort of aftermarket display would be completely invisible and hidden. This part of the PCB is basically useless. I could cut this off. Okay, so the electronics are almost complete. I took the display apart and slightly grinded off the PCB so it fit in here. And I also could use the old Xiaomi original display, so this button here actually turns it on, and you can see this kind of faint blue glow there from the other display, which means it's on. And the throttle also works. So all that's left is to connect the brake. So hopefully the brake should work now. So if I press it, okay. Yeah, oh. Okay, they work backwards. So to ride, you need to hold down the brake, and to stop, you need to let it go. But we could think of it as like a clutch pedal for the scooter. So when you want to,
Extra safety.
yeah, extra safety. So when you want to, yeah, basically when you fall off the scooter, you let go of the brake, the scooter will stop itself. So yeah, it's an extra safety feature. So I got the brake working, used a different lever, and basically now we're gonna go and test it. I've securely attached just the battery to test it with. It's very secure, as you can see, with 3 zip ties, so it should be fine. One slight worry is that the brake, when I tested it, it only seemed to work when I was pushing the scooter backwards. So if that is the case, then that might be a slight worry, because I think I will be going forwards, but let's give it a try. Shit! Oh, okay. So I thought the brakes didn't work at all, but it turns out you just have to be a bit patient. It takes about 2 seconds for the brakes to activate, so you have to just think a bit ahead when you're driving it. And I think I'll have to change a bit of the wiring for the front motor because it felt a bit weak right now. But yeah, everything seems to, I think both the motors are working. So let's build the battery now. So basically the way that batteries or battery packs are normally built out of these 18650 elements is that they're welded together, spot welded with plates of nickel or nickel strips. And we're not going to have to do much welding because this battery that we're utilizing is already almost completely welded together. We're just going to have to weld these few elements and put them on top here so that it will fit inside the scooter. And then we'll have to connect the BMS and package the battery up, and then we'll be done. So I'm just trying to see if these cells will charge. It looks like they will, hopefully, maybe. I'm gonna have to fully test this battery later because I'm not really sure. So when welding, the thought occurred to me that maybe I should check these elements in this battery, this dodgy battery that I basically just found somewhere, that it maybe would be good to check them. And yeah, some of them were pretty low voltage. So I'm charging them now, and let's hope that they're fine. There you go. it even fits. So this is gonna be covered by a new 3D printed bottom cover, something like this. You may be wondering why I have a piece like this. So let me take you to the 3D printer. So yesterday evening something happened and the computer just crashed, so the print failed. So we printing again, but this time with white because we didn't have any more black. And then when I came this morning, it was completely banana shaped. So this end and this end had come loose from the build plate, and basically it was useless. So this is the third print, and we're having to print it out of PETG now instead of PLA, which means that it's really stringy and ugly. And yes, you probably can also print well out of PETG, but I've never had any success with it. So let's hope we get something decent. Green face wires of the controller, yellow and green. No. No. Right, so the cover is done. Came out pretty well actually. It still came loose from the build plate here slightly, but it's such a small curvature that it won't matter. What I did decide to do is route the cable on the outside, because I got slightly afraid, because this is like a 1mm cross-section cable, and we're trying 25 amps through it, so it's going to get probably very hot, so I didn't want it to make the battery catch fire. So we're gonna have to make a slight hole here so the cover would fit on, but otherwise it seems to be pretty good. The front holes starting from like here forward don't quite align up, so I'm gonna have to massage them a bit, but otherwise it's pretty good. But I think I can work with this. Yeah, seems to fit. So now for the interesting place of seeing how many of the screw holes align almost okay. I mean, that's pretty good result actually, considering that I modeled it based on a picture. So okay, looks really weird, almost like it's pregnant or something. I think I got an idea how to fix that. So I made this piece to make it look a bit better. Hopefully it fits well. It's just slightly annoying that there's no place to attach it down at the back, so we're probably just gonna have to glue it. But once again, like with every single print we've done with PETG, this corner came loose from the build plate, and so it's slightly crooked and weird, and so it's only held in by one screw right now, but I think we'll be able to see if it looks better. It's way better. And it looks really good now. If we get it painted up grey as well, then it will almost blend in. It looks completely stock, I think. Well, I mean, much better. So here we have the final product. We haven't really had a chance to ride it yet, so if you are as curious as I am to see whether it rides or whether we can make it to 60 kilometers an hour or whether the battery will explode or the motors will explode or the controller will explode, then wait for the second part of this video. See you then!